These niggas want Ezra Miller to hang around so bad. Like they just hoping and praying that don't nobody remember that this man.
It's all
Big
we've
Show
been talking
chokeslammed.
about. Like
Choke slam the woman.
not the theme music. Behind the Cape. Let's talk about some things going on in DC, MCU. But first, let's talk about Indiana Jones, which is actually coming up in a couple weeks here, I believe. Mm-hmm. Is it the last movie of June, or is it the last week of June? June 20th?
Last week of June, going into July, yeah, because that second week, Mission Impossible will be coming out.
Ah, yeah, yep. So yeah, they've got projections out right now, and it's not looking so hot for the movie. And
low end
Kathleen
projections
Kennedy.
have it domestically, so those numbers were domestically.
Okay,
but anywhere from $81 to $100 million.
That's a little rough for
Yikes.
a movie like Indiana Jones, for a series like Indiana Jones, I should say. Yeah,
high end projections for it to top out domestically is somewhere around $300 million.
like,
Yeah,
what would
that ain't
even
it,
be
man.
the point of adding this on to Indiana Jones?
That would, if they did that domestically, that if they got to the top end of their projection, right, 300 million would cover the production cost of the film through January 1st. So when they had to report financials on January 1st, I don't know why I can't talk today. They had already spent $300 million. That was before any additional marketing, any post-production stuff. They had already spent $300 million on this film.
Yikes.
So, yeah, nah, that ain't going to cut it, boss. That ain't going to get it done.
It's not.
I don't know what else to say about Indiana Jones, man. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the gravitas. Even as much as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull had. You know, the Shia LaBeouf joint felt like it had more than this. And that wasn't the best received Indiana Jones film by far, but
yeah,
made quite a bit of money. I think that one did $100 million in the opening weekend.
Do you think at some level the amount of movies and amount of big movies that are coming out around the same time, we also mentioned obviously Mission Impossible, but then we've got Flash, Spider-Verse, so many movies coming out in this one area of time. Do you think that has a bigger impact on that as well?
I think you would like to think that a brand like Indiana Jones would be able to kind of muscle or bully out the Flash, which is an introductory to a franchise. Maybe. I told y'all. Or even the animated film. This is done fairly well, but not Indiana Jones numbers, of course. So you would like to think that brand would carry, right? I mean, Indiana Jones is a summertime film, I believe. So like you're going to be competing with someone, you know, you know you're going to have to compete with somebody. You would like to think though that the greatest action star of the last 100 years maybe or so, other than maybe Tom Cruise
or Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Maybe other than Tom Cruise. There's some other names in there that you may be throwing that hat, but Harrison Ford is certainly up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think that that's going to last. You would think that carries you to some sort of gravitas. Which I don't think this movie's going to belly out, right? It's not going to make $500 million total. It's going to make much more than that. I don't think you're looking at a Billy.
No.
For
are you looking at $500 million?
Yeah, I mean that would be $500 million. I think. Let me see what Crystal Skull did. It made $790 million, and that was in 2007.
2008.
2008. Okay, so. What? That's like $900 million today, close to roughly. Maybe it does that or just shy of it.
790.
No, 900 million.
You think this one does short of 900
just
million?
short of 900 million.
So it's gonna do like 8.
60% of 790 million was international last time. So if they get 60%
so that's about
international,
400. That's about 480 million.
Okay, so then this go round, right? More money. Higher ticket prices, what have you. Mm-hmm. This go round, if they do that and they make $300 million domestically, if they're still getting 60% of their box office internationally, I was thinking maybe they get around like $600 million internationally.
Oh, 600 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they are right around the Billy. like right up, razor thin margins here. But I'm being generous though.
600 is closer to
I'm
half.
trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that this is going to play very well.
Yeah, that's
in China.
That's a pretty big
else.
benefit too, because I do also feel like there's a lot more hype around Crystal Skull than there is
today.
now.
Yeah, I don't hear anybody talking about Indiana Jones really, unless it's trashing the movie. To be honest with you, but
trashing the movie or Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna see it.
I mean, we'll see it.
Are we reviewing it? I'm not seeing it.
We'll see. My Fire Stick still works.
Fair. Let's move on to The Flash.
Ooh.
Boy, they are not letting go of Ezra Miller. And they even might want him to be in any kind of potential sequel as well.
Yo, I tried to prepare us for this moment. I tried to prepare us for this moment.
I just don't get it.
Well, okay. Again, if you're still on they're going to cut him loose. Nothing's been solidified. He hasn't spoken. They're saying all the right things. To me, the right thing isn't opening the door for him to continue. That's not the correct thing to do. Leaving it ambiguous, maybe not commenting on it, maybe doing what you got going on with Ezra Miller and just avoiding it altogether, we're just focused on The Flash and we want everybody to enjoy the movie. If there is a sequel, of course, there'll be a discussion on who's going to be cast in that, but we'll have to have those discussions at that time. Zero media training here, folks. Zero. Absolutely none. I don't need any information on the circumstances surrounding it to give you that. None. Unfortunately, I have a lot of details of the circumstances surrounding it, and I know just how bad of an answer is, oh, I don't think anybody can play the Flash except for Ezra Miller. Do you feel like we've always gotten these type of bad quotes out of studios?
No.
Like Warner Brothers or Disney?
No, not always, no.
It is a virtual who's of bad gaffes in media gaggles and interviews and stuff like that over the last, I'd say, about 3 years maybe.
Yep.
It has been just horrendous. Like the media training in Hollywood these days is just and I don't think the media is getting any tougher either. So it's definitely not the questions that you're fielding,
According to what the media's goal is, I don't think they'll ever get any tougher.
Like they need to have the fact that they're not letting him speak lets me know that maybe something's going on there, but then you're letting everyone else speak about him and bring him up to talk about this movie.
In the most positive way ever.
Yeah, like the most overtly positive, like completely in support. Does anybody still feel the type of, oh, damn, I feel bad for Warner Brothers. They spent all this money on this movie, and now they got to go with this actor. You still feel that way? Like, does that maintain after hearing them speak so glowingly about Ezra Miller in the lead up for this movie? And again, I don't expect them to come out here and drag him through the mud. Mm-hmm. I don't expect them to, allude to any wrongdoings or anything like that. I don't expect that because they have to sell a product. I just expect them to try to separate Ezra Miller, the person, from the Flash, the character. And it seems like they keep, at every opportunity, marrying those two. Like, you kind of want the Flash to be his own thing so that maybe someone else could be the Flash at some point so that you can get away from this shit. It does not feel as though they want to be away from anything.
Mm-mm. They want way more. They want a lot more of Ezra Miller from what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy. How does a potential, well, it's a little too early to say because we haven't seen this movie, but a potential sequel with Keaton Batman and Supergirl sound? This is apparently the rumor.
A potential sequel to what? To the Flash? Y'all, listen to me. Listen to me. We cannot do this. You can't do this. Literally, we cannot do this. Don't say nothing to me about no R. Kelly, no Bill Cosby, no Jonathan Majors. Well, let's exclude R. Kelly out of that because what I was about to say is that we never saw any of those individuals do any of their shit that they were accused of. We have watched this man terrorize person after person, case after case, for years. Fam, I had no idea that this shit stretched way back to like him first appearing in the Justice League. like he has been on a terror since like 2017, 2018.
What, like, why are we keeping this around?
I have no fucking clue. But then you're going to expect my heart to bleed every time you deem some actor to be unfit because he had, not such a good relationship with an ex-girlfriend who happened to be white. It's a no-no. It's a no-no. But Ezra Miller can kidnap women. Ezra Miller can chokeslam women. He can break into your house and threaten to kill you. He can steal your passports and all your belongings.
And your daughter.
Like, no one else can play the Flash. Don't tell me it's different companies or different studios. That don't matter to me because it don't matter to y'all. The way you talk about it or cover it is not the same. The way you react to it is not the same. So the same way they're dealing with it is the same way you're digesting it. Ezra's troubled. He's troubled. He needs help. And he's been working hard. So he deserves another multi-million-dollar payday to be the Flash. Yo, this man was using his suit to try and lure children. Like, using his suit to try to lure young children into doing things for him because he's the Flash.
That's some nasty shit.
I'm sorry. Daughter, sleep upstairs, y'all. I gotta calm down a little bit. But Jesus Christ, what are we talking about right now? We are talking about no one else playing the Flash. If they have a sequel, if you don't get this movie out and stop talking about it right now, everybody's fired. If somebody else says something else about Ezra Miller being the Flash before this movie hits, you're fired. Would be my edict, but it seems like everybody's okay with it. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That no one's getting their wrist slapped, that no one's coming back and refuting these statements or trying to re-clarify, that they're standing on them. Everyone from the producers down to the actors.
I don't get it.
What does that say? Does that feel like someone's on their way out the doors? Does that feel like they're coalescing support?
And to that point, it's almost like you're overhyping the film to be what we're supposed to believe is, at the very least, the best movie this year.
I would be fine with that if the focus was on the film. If the focus was on the characters. It's on Ezra Miller.
Yeah. And why they should keep him around.
I don't know, bro.
I can't make any sense.
I don't know.
I got nothing for you. Obviously, Spider-Verse just came out this weekend, and I believe the box office for this weekend has come in at, was it 180?
180 million?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's at 120 and a half.
That domestic or worldwide?
I'm checking right now. The third biggest opening ever for an animated film, as well as a best ever for Sony Animation, not adjusted for inflation.
Shit, Wakanda Forever did 184 opening weekend. We talked about a little bit in our review what would need to happen for them to capitalize on some of the success that they're seeing cross platforms with Miles. The main thing for me was to, number one, stop calling that man the other Miles. Or excuse me, stop calling that man the other Spider-Man. Right? Like, it was... I like that they moved him to Harlem in the video game. So it was kind of more like, Spider-Man lives in Queens. Manhattan, that whole area. Like, that's his side of town. But Miles is in Harlem, where he's from. Or not where he's from, but a place where he can patrol and just have his own kind of thing, make it make sense that he's not running into Peter Parker every 5 seconds. We could kind of increase that exponentially and send that man to San Francisco or something. Like, get him out of New York. Give him his own name. I mean, at this point, it would probably still be spider based in some way. Yeah.
Spider Shock.
No. Leave that shit alone. Yeah, his own name. That's where we start. His own name and his own post. Right? Because what we're dealing with here is a character who was meant to bolster the popularity of the Spider-Man brand, and again, similar to Jon Stewart, through animation, has kind of found his own foothold, has found his own voice, has found his own fan base. Miles Morales, to the vast majority of Spider-Man fans, he's not an insanely popular character. That does not mean that Miles Morales, the character, is not a very popular character right now. And so it's giving you all of the signs of, hey, there's potential for this character to grow beyond the mantle he was meant to be tied to. Cut that tether. Give him his own name. The next thing Sony has to do, aside from Miles Morales, you may need to put some of these Madam Web and El Muerto and some of these projects. Kraven the Hunter. See, I think they may be able to do something with Kraven, but a few of these projects you're gonna need to push to the back burner so you can fast track Miles Morales. You're just gonna have to do it. That's where the money is at. That's where the money resides. It's proven. Multiple platforms now. So much so that he's an integral part of Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a big part in Spider-Man 2. Do you think if Miles was the same bozo sidekick character that most of these ancillary characters end up being, I don't see no Falcon video game.
No.
Hell?
No.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see no Falcon animated movies coming out. And I have zero faith in New World Hulk. Zero. None. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical of it when it was announced. I was skeptical of it in the lead up, all the way to it. And seeing my last 7 or so MCU projects, I am at a prove it mode.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, there are, both of those characters came from the same spot, but they are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
They are not the same. They're not in the same spot right now.
What do you think about the trajectory of Sony's Spider-Verse, I guess, being that they've at least got 2 hits with the actual Spider-Man live action movies. They got to get some of
these ancillary characters to do something, whether it's the villains or an anti-hero like Venom. Like, maybe that's the one that takes a break. Maybe we stop Venom 3 from happening and we kind of reallocate those resources for a live action Spider-Verse movie or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
In which case, if Kraven the Hunter has already come out and El Muerto has come out, maybe that's how you bring all of that together. I don't know. But that hinges a lot on a character like El Muerto being really popular enough to, bring a universe kind of swapping movie together.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think Kraven has some really good potential. I like the idea of Kraven the Hunter. I just wonder, how do you do, like, I think that's going to be him and Spider-Man. I think that's going to be a Spider-Man arc. So then, do you create a new villain for Miles in the live action?
I personally would give him his own villain.
In the first movie?
Yeah. To establish him as separate. But will they do that? Or do they believe in Miles Morales enough to separate him that much?
See, my thinking of it is that Kraven he is a Spider-Man villain. But he's also versed enough that I think you could loan him out to springboard somebody up, like a Miles Morales, into his own villain.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to go the route of, the first Miles Morales game or the Into the Spider-Verse movie with this live action, but see, I don't like that. I don't want them to do that. Don't retell the story of Miles Morales now that there's an actual person on screen. We know who this is.
Yeah.
I would like the live action to piggyback off of whatever happens in the
Spider-Verse
movie. That shit would be dope.
Yeah, I agree.
If
you've already established his character recent enough to just go right into it, but
and them flash into the the Tobey Maguires and the Andrew Garfields and the mention of Garfield's Spider-Man lets you know that there are they're tied to the actual tangible human being universe that we live in, right? So it gives you every reason to do it. It gives you every reason to do it. It keeps continuity with what you have going on Sony. I think it would make a couple billion if you did it. Or at least $8 billion. At least $8 billion.
No, for sure.
Grant, given that the third movie delivers, that they complete the trilogy solid, and that it's not a disappointment in any way.
Yeah.
But those would be the couple things I would do. I would fast track the movie, the live action. I would pick one of these, either Madam Web, Craven, or Mel Muerto, or Venom, whichever one of those, and kind of maybe use that as a bridge. No. We went away from that. We're going to do the one that's connected to the Spider-Verse. So, run all that back. We're going to fast track a live action. We're going to give Miles Morales his own name. And then we're going to delay some of these other Sony things that nobody's excited for to kind of clear the road.
Yeah.
That's what I would do to kind of capitalize on the momentum that they got going on with Miles right now.
I'd agree with that. So it was 120.5 domestic, and it seized another 88.1 million international to bring it to a total of 208.6 million.
Okay. All right.
Which says the film beat expectations to land the second biggest opening weekend of the year behind
Super
Super
Indiana
Mario.
Jones was projected to do? 81 million, 80 to 100 million?
Yeah, something nuts.
Jesus. When
Something
did Sony start kicking Disney's ass at Marvel projects? When did that happen? Didn't it feel like 2 years ago we were sitting up here talking about Sony can't get right?
Yes.
No, we don't want them working with Spider-Man because they're going to fuck it up.
Yes.
Swear to God, that's what we were saying.
Yes, it is.
No, Sony, just give it back to Disney. They know what to do. Hell no.
Yeah, hold on to this for a little while.
Fam, could you imagine? If Disney had the rights to Spider-Man right now?
Oh. Well, we wouldn't be seeing Miles Morales.
I think maybe there'd be more Spider-Man content, but I don't know if it'd be good. Oh, no, absolutely there would be no Miles Morales. At least not in the capacity in which Sony is doing him.
Yeah.
Right? Like he'd be
he's helming his own trilogy right now. We wouldn't be getting that.
No,
right
we
now.
wouldn't be getting that with Disney. He would be they do him like Finn.
Yikes.
They do him like Finn in Star Wars.
Yeah, no. They're making it happen the right way over at Sony right now. And again, if they get one other thing off.
Yeah, but don't take your foot off the glass foot off the gas, because this could go sour. Could go sour, right? There's a lot of stuff that could go happen, a lot of decisions that get made. This character's popularity is growing. And while I do think that, the added benefit of them profiting off of the character bodes well for his future, we've seen the history of these characters popping and then something or another happening to where they get off the screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so make it happen. Make it happen and continue to elevate them. If you care, if you give a damn about it. If you don't, and if you want them to be married to Peter Parker, Spider-Man forever, I'm sure that'll get old. I'm positive it'll get old. Regardless of how good these movies are, you will put a ceiling on the character's growth, in my opinion, keeping that tethered to Peter Parker. You have a chance to take a character whose intentions were never meant for any of this and end up turning him into a household name. It's just up to you on how you want to handle it from here on out. So,
any thoughts on the fact that Little Mermaid and Spider-Verse are number 1, number 2, and roles that are typically designated for white characters?
I think Mermaid opened up to a soft box office, or in terms of competition, and having Memorial Day weekend.
I don't think it dropped very much compared to what some of the Marvel movies.
Sure. It's not. It's not like it's obviously not like an MCU film or anything like that where the first watch kind of soaks it up. These are kids, they watch the same movie 50 million times. So, not to mention, again, kids are getting out on school. You start doing more summary type stuff, trips to the movies, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect Mermaid to be in the top 3 next week because you've got the next couple of weeks. You got Transformers, Flash, Mission Impossible. Then Indiana Jones is coming out in July. So it's I don't expect.
You didn't need to mention Indiana Jones in that.
Well, I mean, it's if nothing else, is going to take up a few theaters on the tail end of Little Mermaid.
No, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, good for Little Mermaid, I guess. I hope it makes its mark. It
doesn't. Spider-Man.
It's shooting south of 500 million right now, so I'm I don't know. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah,
but Spider-Man is killing it, so definitely down for that.
Agreed.
Or Spider-Verse. See, I'm even doing it.
Last thing we got to talk about is a question from one of our last videos, the video that we did on Secret Wars. One May Kent.
Shout out to May Kent.
May Kent asks, "Hey guys, do you believe King T'Challa might return in Secret Wars? Ooh. To me, it seems like Ryan Coogler is in control of the character."
Coogler, more
Joe Robert Cole.
Yeah. Those are the overseers of Wakanda at the moment. And I think while they are in charge, or at least while they have the creative freedom, there's not going to be a T'Challa. At least not the T'Challa we're looking for. There'll be a TJ. There'll be a Toussaint, son of T'Challa, for whatever that's worth.
So you don't think because of the Secret Wars that we won't get some sort of
I think variant. They will go again, listen to what I'm saying now. While they have the creative control, at present date, Wakanda is in the hands of Ryan Coogler and Nate Moore and Mr. Cole. Will it be that way by the time that we get to Secret Wars? Well,
do you think that there's anything that's going to change within the next year and a half? Well, actually, it's about 2 years.
It's already changing.
Okay.
Right? Victoria Alonso out. Victoria Alonso had I would have to think if what we're hearing about what she thought about the mantles at Marvel and how they worked had any influence on Nate or anything that was going on in Wakanda, which, I mean, if you look at literally what happened, what they did with it, it seems like it's of the same ideology, then that's certainly a domino.
Yeah.
The writer strike and that kind of serving as a justification for them to go away from some of the writer groups that they've been using on some of these projects. I do not think that Wakanda is immune to some of these cuts that are happening.
Or just creative changes in general.
Exactly, right? And so if by the time we get to discussing anything Black Panther or Wakanda, which seems to be years off because I don't know if maybe I've missed something or if, you guys have heard of anything, but I haven't seen jack shit. I heard Ryan Coogler, who should watch out, by the way, because yet another one of our well, not our, but yet another person got their exclusive deal with a streaming platform yanked away this week in Jamel Hill. I guess we'll talk about that in the Dubs and Nails. But they should y'all niggas need to watch out on these exclusive deals that y'all signing.
Yeah,
Patrice Carruthers, Jamel Hill. I don't think you envisioned being cut out of that deal and fired or bought out or however you want to frame it, Jamel, or whoever else. But let go from your position, 2.5 years into that deal. And that's similar to what Ryan Coogler had with Black Panther 2, and he was supposed to do a Wakanda series and Okoye series. So watch out, brother, because they ain't honoring them things now these days. It's seeming like maybe by the time we actually get there, whatever Ryan has planned is not fitting the narrative of Marvel. Let's hope. Let's hope.
It's amazing how I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, they've only got about 2 years before Secret Wars comes out. That's not a lot of time for them to make any sweeping changes.
There's
and
not
then
even
you just
a Wakanda project in those 2 years.
yeah.
If we get Secret Wars on schedule in 2026, so 3 years.
I thought it was 2025.
So one of them is Kang Dynasty, the other one is Secret Wars.
I thought they were
Secret
both
Wars
coming out
going into
25, maybe not.
one
Maybe
of them
I'm
is
wrong.
26. 2 or 3 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a lot of time. If that's what we're gonna do, and we're expecting to get even an aged up T'Challa at that point, or aged up T'Challa Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we gonna get that? Where are we gonna see it? Is it gonna happen all at once in one movie? Oh well, that feels great, doesn't it? Feels like a payoff. They're not even gearing up to give you anything that's Wakanda related in the meantime. So it's like, is there even a plan to do anything with that? Like, we talked about the rumor about them trying to hand it over to Storm for the time being, since, Shuri didn't play the way that they thought it was going to. Rolodex of black people. Just like I told y'all it was going to be. Oh, that one didn't work. Okay. Next up.
Sam Wilson.
Don't play, because we'll come back around to it.
So he's going to take the mantle of Captain
my real
America.
father was from Wakanda?
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, man. Oh, did you hear Sam's going to have a vibranium suit in the next movie?
He already has a vibranium shield.
Yeah, but now his suit's going to be vibranium.
Yeah, because why not?
Basically, Captain Wakanda America. Captain America.
That's crazy.
Captain America.
Captain America is nuts.
America forever.
You want to send us out?
America.
America forever?
America forever.
It has to be some sort of combination of this and...
What?
All right, ew.
America forever.
All right. This has gone too far off the rails.
Give us your thoughts on the America Forever sign in the comments below. Also, on all the other stories that we discussed today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Come back next week for another Behind the Cape episode.
Absolutely. Make sure you check out our previous video, which includes conversations about Secret Wars, which is where we got the question from before. So make sure you comment, because it might end up in a video. Mm-hmm. And then also make sure you subscribe. We like to do these once a week.
America.